Welcome to Law and Order BUX. I'm your host, Bucks County Sheriff Fred Harran. Every corner of Bucks County has a story to tell. Sometimes a story of resilience. Sometimes a story that chills us to the bone. Sometimes a story of government not being able to get out of its own way. Here, the forces of law and order are constantly at work, often behind the scenes. Join us as we delve into the gripping realities of crime and justice in our community. We'll explore the hidden worlds, the difficult decisions, and the unwavering commitment it takes to maintain law and order right here in Bucks County. Welcome to episode 10 of Law and Order BUX. I can't believe the episodes are just marching along. We've had a lot of great topics. This week we're going to kind of take you in a different direction, which I think a lot of folks are going to find interesting. We're going to be talking to the women in law enforcement, specifically the women here in the sheriff's office. And I think we have 8 or 9 ladies. I think they say 8. I said 9. I got to go back and check our manning table, but we'll say 8 ladies that are working here, and they do a phenomenal job. And I think this is going to be very interesting for our viewers to hear, which is traditionally in law enforcement. When I came on in 1987, there was 1 female working in Bensalem, and I actually got hired with 2 females. And then I think was the beginning of really the integration. It's really been dominantly a male role. I'm not saying that's right, for the record. I'm not saying that, so don't mistake me. But I am very proud of the folks that we have here and the amount of females that we do get applying to this job. And I think I hired 3 out of the 4 of you. Aaron was here, but I did get a chance to promote you to sergeant. Mm-hmm. So, she actually scored it extremely high by a lot. So I was very, very happy, promoting you, well deserved. And then the other 3, I got a chance to hire as well. And we've hired a lot of deputies since I've been here. Knock on wood, we've been very lucky to get that. But I just think it's going to be interesting for our audience just to find out, because I want to attract. I know you guys tell me no more. I know you've told me no more women. For the record, viewers, I have the females, all of them, and again, there's 8 of them. Have all told me, please, next time you hire, we want to be involved in the hiring process for females, because you've got a great group working here. Yes. And you all get along. I guess the other women that are listening will understand that. The men won't understand that. Yeah. But the women, our women listeners, my wife who listens to this, my daughter who listens to this, they will probably understand what you're talking about. For the record, on record, Fred Harran, the Sheriff of Bucks County, I have no clue what they're talking about. I want to be on the record. If anybody decides to cut this tape up and teach it, I have no clue. I am welcoming of all individuals here. Mm-hmm. But I know you ladies would like to be involved in the next hiring of any women. So, but we got to get, what's that?
And the men.
Oh, and the men. That I don't think we can talk about on the air.
The hiring, yes.
I don't know if we can go that way on the hiring. HR is probably shaking right now, but that's okay. But we'll see what we can do, Erica. So we have Sergeant Aaron, Sergeant Parker. We have Deputy Brewerton, Deputy Bridget, and Deputy McIntyre, Erica, and Deputy, I know, Ivy. Say your last name, Ivy. Rabia.
Yes.
And Deputy Rawia, who we call Ivy. And Ivy, you came from Parks Casino. We were able to scoop you up from Parks.
Yes.
Erica, you came from Morrisville PD. Mm-hmm. Bridget, you came from the prison. You were probably glad getting out of there.
Yes.
And then Sergeant Parker came from the radio room, but that was before I got here. So, yeah. Ladies, I don't want to take this over. So I guess we'll go by rank here. Sarge, what's it like to be working here? And you were on the street for a while too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right now I'm the civil sergeant. I did civil for, oh God, I think 8 years. And that's something I really enjoy. I really like. I've always wanted to be in law enforcement ever since I was in high school. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and I started in the radio room. I was there for 3 years before I got hired here, and I think that helped me immensely coming here, just learning, how to talk on the radio, the
Right.
different municipality codes. You kind of learn a lot. So I had like a nice transition from the radio room to here.
And what's it like working as a supervisor? And we have 77 people in total,
Yeah.
and with the civilian staff, it's like 94,
Mhm.
I believe.
Mhm.
So, what's it like, as a new supervisor
Yeah.
and a female?
Yeah.
What's that like? Supervising men
Yeah.
in a paramilitary organization.
Mhm. I mean, it does take some getting used to, especially the first year, because you come one day you're the equal, and then next day you're people's supervisor. So it takes a little bit to kind of get integrated and, feel your way through. But I have a good group of guys on the road, and I knew all of them before I was promoted. So, and I thought I did a good job. So I think, going from deputy to sergeant, while the first year was difficult, I think now, especially as a female, you kind of think, oh, are these guys going to be okay with, me being their boss? But I haven't really had too many issues with the guys.
I know when I came in Ben Salem, I had Sergeant Kurgan, and she had left before me. She left as a lieutenant, and she was probably one of my best supervisors I had on the road. So, how does this affect you? Just being in this law enforcement role and as a supervisor. I mean, and your sister's a cop too.
Yes, my
And a
sister.
lieutenant.
Yes,
Yeah.
my sister is a lieutenant with a police department in
Yeah.
BUX County. We never had any type of, other family in law enforcement. We both just decided, that this is what we wanted to do. And how it affects me, I have a daughter who is in college, and it's nice, I think, to show her that, especially in a male-dominated field, if you put in the work, you work your butt off, you can achieve,
Yeah.
you can move up the ranks.
Well, I think that's
Yeah.
a great message, especially to our female listeners out there.
Mhm.
That we don't have like a opening. We're always open for hire.
Mhm.
So I try to replace. So if there's women out there that are looking for a career in law enforcement, we would love to have your application. Know that it's not the interview with me that's going to be tough. It's going to be the interview with these ladies that you're going to have a rough time with. So better them than me, but I'm not that hard in an interview. And three of you, I got to interview, so hopefully you can attest that. Ibby, let's shoot over to you. You're like,
I know, right?
Ibby, but I think you come also from the private sector, being security, and I know you owned your own company for a while. You were doing that trucking for a little bit down in Ben Salem, but you're also from Morocco, which I'm dying to get to, and I know I'm a little jealous. You're getting to go away. You're taking a vacation.
I know, I'm taking a vacation next week. I've been away from my country, from Morocco, for 8 years. I didn't see my parents for a while, and also my sisters. So it's a good time for me to go there and spend time with my family. Yeah.
So coming from another country and coming to the U.S. and being, in law enforcement, what's that experience been like for you?
It's a very good experience for me because it's different than where I came from. And I always want to be a law enforcement when I was a kid. When I came here in 2016, I was working different kind of jobs until I started working in parks, because as a security officer, and that's when it changed my mind that I want to be in field as a deputy sheriff or a police officer.
That's great. Do they have? Is there a lot of female law enforcement in Morocco?
It's not a lot. Most is men's. I see most female officers here in U.S. than Morocco.
Morocco. So and you've been very comfortable here. I know everybody loves you. You fit in with everybody, and I know you work really hard here. And you're continuing on to school now, right?
Yes. I am currently in school for online school, Rosemont College, doing criminal justice bachelor degree. So I'm graduating next year.
And you speak fluent
Arabic.
Arabic.
Every different dialects, Arabic, Spanish, French.
So, that was, I got to be honest, that was one of the things that was very appealing to me too. I like to be able to get different, different languages in here and folks that can speak different languages. But I always worry about, especially, folks that, I had a young lady in Ben Salem. She's still there, a detective, but I always thought, she's a college graduate. She speaks Arabic fluently. Some federal agency is going to scoop her up.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you're here, and
Thank you.
I think I got a feeling you'll make this place home for a long, long time. So I'm glad. Let's turn it over to I wasn't going to call you Bridget. Why do you always give me that look? So just so the listeners know, because some people I used to call her Brittany because she looked like a Brittany to me, and then she would let me know that her name was Bridget. And your mom and I, we have a little bit closer relationship here because your mom and I get our hair done in the same place. And it's not that your mom, yeah, it's a long story.
Yours doesn't take that long, I guess.
Mine does not take as long as Bridget's mom. So, and Bridget's mom does not go to a male place, but I do go to, my wife always makes fun of me. She's like, how much do you spend on haircuts? She goes, guys can get haircuts for like $10. What, I said, I've been going to the same person since I've been in Bucks County. So yeah, Bridget, your mom and I get our hair done. I get my hair cut. She gets her hair done. So let's just make sure the viewers understand. I'm not getting my hair done. I'm just getting my hair cut. So, but anyway, you came here from the prison.
I did.
How is that life a little different?
Oh, it's a lot different. It's a whole different animal in the prison. You're working 8 to 16 hours a day. You're inside 8, 16 hours a day. You have no contact with the outside. You can't even go outside unless you're doing like a hospital run. It's stressful. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
So I will say I don't think the COs get enough appreciation for what they do. People don't understand what goes on in there. They're away from their families 8, 16 hours a day for holidays, weekends, whether it be in reception, records on the block. It's tough, and I give them a lot of credit, and I don't think people do. So leaving there was a blessing. And I keep it, I'm there frequently, obviously, for transports,
Right.
but I keep in touch with people there as well. So I just wanted to make sure I brought that up today, that I wanted to bring up my piece.
Yeah.
No, listen, I agree with you 100%. That is an incredibly tough job because you're locked up
You are.
as a guard, and you've done nothing wrong as a CO. I don't think they're compensated enough for the job that they do. And I don't
agree.
think people understand
They don't.
what they do in the law enforcement world between municipal police, state police, deputy sheriffs, countywide, sheriffs, and then you have our park police. But I don't think people understand that the COs, the job they do, they're dealing with not so much, the best, folks in society. Not that everybody in prison is bad people,
Right.
but some people are bad.
Right.
And they're dealing with all this sort of stuff, and they're actually locked up.
Right.
With the prisoners. And I know we hired a bunch of folks from the prison, and you actually came over as a clerk first.
I did.
But I knew, you wanted to be that we had no openings at the time, and then we got an opening. So that was good because you did a great job as a clerk, and I was, after you got trained and everything, and then you're like, oh, I want to be a deputy sheriff, and I'm like, oh, well, that's just great. I just trained you to be a clerk. But I never want to hold anybody back from advancing. You've been, although your partner's a little, well, we won't go into that.
Special.
Yeah, so I don't know if he listens to this podcast, but
He will.
yeah, he will. Yeah, he will. But yeah, he's an interesting character, and maybe we'll have the characters of the Bucks County Sheriff's Office.
Oh God.
I don't know if we can air that though.
No.
But you're doing transports,
Yes.
all over the area. You're in Rikers a lot, and
Yes.
different facilities bringing the prisoners at. And we've talked about that on different episodes, the different functions of the sheriff's office. And right now you're inside doing because Mark Grove was on doing transports. We talked about him and Todd Kessler. Kessler was just on the other day about the scope unit. But Mark was on about the transports, and that's a rough job. And here you are going to Rikers Island, and Hollywood has that portrayed as sometimes the worst of the worst. But again, it's just people in New York that are getting locked up, and they just wind up going to Rikers Island, and then we bring them here for different stuff. But how are you doing on the road?
It's good days and bad days. So it depends what trips we have. Some weeks we're on the road for 12 hours.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. Some days, if we get done on time, which is rare, it's nice, but it's a lot of work. But it's either, you're in here and you're busy, or you're doing runs to the jail. I mean, that's half the majority of the reason why I tried being a clerk prior to, coming over to be a deputy, because I was so busy for 6 years at the prison. I'm like, let me see if I could just do a desk job, because you just want to be like content, And I was like, I can't do this. I love the girls down there. It was a great experience, but I knew I had to go back and do something that is more physical.
Some people need to be out and about.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
But that is the deputies on the road. The transport deputies. I don't like driving, and I got to take the back roads. I live all the way down in Bristol Borough. I don't know. I got the job up here as sheriff, and I moved further south in the county. I don't know what I was thinking, but that's where we wound up. So I'm about 50 minutes, take 95 Swamp Road, and I hate it. I hate to drive. The afternoon's a little rougher with the traffic, but you got a human being, or sometimes multiple humans, that you're responsible. And some of them are bad, and they want to escape, and they want to get away, and you have to be safe about everything. So that's got to be a strenuous job, but not as bad as being in the prison.
No.
Not nearly as bad as being in the prison.
And for the record, the guys don't let me drive. They claim I'm a bad driver. So I'm usually the passenger princess.
Doing all the paperwork.
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't think it's that. I think
I'm
that.
telling you.
I think.
It's the paperwork.
I think they don't want to do any of the paperwork.
That's right.
Yeah, I always. We had the director of emergency management here, Audrey Kenny. She's very high up she's not here anymore. She went up. She took a state job, but we would be in meetings, and lower ranking people that were men. Like it was like, who wants to take notes? And like no guy ever wants to take notes. I don't know why. Like for me, my handwriting's atrocious. Otherwise, I wouldn't care. But Audrey, I'm like, Audrey, how's the boss always wind up taking the notes? So I don't think it's a girl thing or a woman thing. I think it's more of a guy. Just a lot of times, guys don't hear. They don't pay attention. Women are a lot more intuitive. Okay, I'm going to say it. They're a lot smarter than we are. Okay, a lot smarter. This morning I left the house and I got to go away for a couple of days next week, and my wife's having some family people over on Monday night, and she's like, that paperwork on the island, that you could put that away before you leave. I'm like, stop telling me what to do. You don't run the show here. And of course she gave me a look like, no, I know, I'm just saying that to make myself feel better. I really do know you run the show. So I think the guys just don't feel comfortable. These women are a lot smarter than we are, so there's no doubt, and a lot more meticulous and organized. Erica, you came from law enforcement.
I did, yeah.
So you came from Morrisville PD.
I did.
And you were ready for a change.
I was ready for a change. I loved being a police officer. And I always wanted to be an officer. But then in the beginning of my career, I thought, how am I going to do this for 30, 40 years? Because I was young when I started. And interestingly enough, I thought to myself, I remember early on in my career, maybe I'll go to the sheriff's department when I retire. And, just so I can still stay in law enforcement. And the opportunity came up for me, and I took it, and I love where I'm at.
Good.
It's great. It's a great department.
And we have a guy that came with it, right, from Morrisville?
Oh, yeah, Mike Dean.
Yeah, Mike.
He came as well.
So, and that's a big changeover from, and a lot of, listen, I'll be honest, a lot of people come here too, especially those that want to be in law enforcement, but municipal policing, are different hours. Our hours are pretty good here. We do have, you can work nights and sign up for the night shifts and all that sort of stuff. But traditionally, I remember the first couple weeks in 22 when I got here, I showed up for work one day and there was no one here. And I'm like, where the heck is everybody? And I called Jenny, my secretary, is there something I don't know? She goes, didn't you get the message? I'm like, no, what message? It's a snow day.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what are we, in kindergarten? We have snow days here? I said, in 35 years in municipal policing, I've never once had a snow day.
Mhm.
But here when the courthouse closes, the deputies are off because there's no
Yep.
prisoners, and we can't be picking up prisoners and moving them around. We could still do the other stuff, but it's probably not worth being on the road. So it is. The hours are a little better here than municipal law enforcement, and we get holidays off here. I mean, Wood County gets a lot of holidays off.
Mhm.
I'm not complaining. I'm not
Nope.
complaining. So it is a good deal. But this was a good segue for you from municipal policing. How many years were you in Morrisville?
So I was in Morrisville just under 23 years. Prior to that, I was part-time in Pendle and Solbury Township.
Oh, nice.
So that's where I started my career. But yeah, in Morrisville, as an officer, you're doing all the things. You're investigating the crimes. You're going to the calls. So you're out there, in the public, and it gets, it's a lot
Yeah.
for officers, and doing that all the time, like you were saying before. We're working holidays, we're working weekends. Somebody calls out, especially in a smaller department, you're stuck 18 hours.
Right.
And so that takes a toll on you. And I think that our officers everywhere, they don't get enough credit for it.
Oh, I agree.
So when I had the opportunity to come here, I was like, selling it to my kids because, mom's a cop. Like,
Right.
how cool is that mom's a cop, right? And I'm like, well, I'm still going to, in law enforcement, but like, I'm going to have the weekends off.
Yeah.
Like no more, out on Christmas or Thanksgiving. So it's really nice to be able to have a normal schedule and, be with your family. And it's nice that since they're growing up, so I can be there for them.
Yeah.
But it's also here, it's interesting too, is like I was saying before, you're investigating the crimes, you're doing all that stuff. And then you come here and you get to actually watch the outcome of these crimes that the officers put so much time and effort into, investigating and putting on. And just today, in the past few days, we were in the Justin Moan trial, and it was really incredible to see what, how it all came about and everything. So I'm really enjoying that aspect of it.
I mean, it is because people come in this building, and probably with the exception of the Prothonotari's office, where they're getting passports, and that's a fun thing because you're leaving the country and you're going on vacation. And I guess some people go in there for name changes, which is a fun thing, I guess, if you're that person. But everything else in this building is pretty much,
Yeah.
custody, protection of abuse.
Mhm.
You've been on trial for something. We took your property, we took your house.
Mhm.
So a lot of the stuff that goes on here is not pleasant. And I think not a lot. All the deputies, from what I see, especially when you work in the front lobby, dealing with people, and a lot of folks and families are on their worst days ever. What's the judge going to do? Am I going to lose my kids today? Am I going to get whacked with child support? Is the woman getting? And most of the time it's ladies getting PFAs. Is the judge going to uphold my protection or abuse? Is this guy going to haunt me forever, or the court's going to help me? So people are here sometimes at their worst time in their lives, and the guys and the ladies, the men and the women, do a great job at really putting people at ease and making people feel as comfortable as they can possibly feel. And I know, being in municipal policing, we had that, but it wasn't always like that. There was some good things too.
Sure.
And here it just doesn't. It's always somebody's got some problem going on. But you folks do a great job with all that. What about some advice to women that might be listening that are like, I don't know if this is where I want to go, law enforcement, whether it's municipal policing? Bridget, don't say anything. I don't know where you're going. I can read I'm like, no, don't know. I don't know what she's going to say. You never know what Bridget's going to say. I'm kidding. But I'm really not kidding. But what's some advice for women that might be listening? Or men?
I think for women, especially if you're on the fence, see if somebody has an internship. If there is a police department, I know we have interns. If you're kind of on the fence, you're not sure, try to get an internship and see if it's something you enjoy. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. And then you can at least spend a couple of days. Even if it's not long term, you get a feel. How about you guys, Erica, Ivy? Any advice? How about somebody coming from another country? I know we just I can't remember his name. From Haiti. Virgil.
Yeah.
Coming from another country, interested in law enforcement here in the U.S. Any advice and they like, well, that's not what law enforcement is in my country. I don't know, because being involved and getting out in the community, I do know in other countries law enforcement
Yeah.
goes different ways. In the U.S., it's pretty much, whether you're in New York or California, it's pretty much the same generally. Any advice for somebody might be in the U.S. from another country and is interested in law enforcement career?
The only advice I can say is just follow what you want and don't be scared to start.
Well, I think that's good advice
Yeah.
because that first day coming in the door, filling out an application could be very nerve-wracking. So,
Yeah, I think if you just talk to a female law enforcement officer, and they'll be able to give you advice. I've had people come up to me and ask me, what it's like, should they do it? And I think if you just talk to somebody, a female law enforcement, they'll be able to tell you, how it is.
and I don't know what the number is in the county, but I know more and more departments have, again, when I came on in '87, there was very little women. You could probably count them on two hands, the amount of females.
Yeah.
Out of almost 1,000 cops, and now, I don't know what the numbers are in Bucks County, but there's certainly a lot more than we had when I came on. You probably weren't born in '87, were you?
95.
I know. How about no? The rest of you probably born in '87.
Me and Erica were around.
I don't know.
It is nice to see how many women are in law enforcement, though, because
I agree.
for 20 years in Marshall, I was the only female.
Yeah.
And it was neat to be, the girl there, and whenever you needed something that I was capable of doing, or they wanted a female, but it's coming here with 8 or, however many girls that we do have. It's nice. And we all, like you said before, we get along.
Yes.
We all work really well together. And to go back on what you said, if women, want to get into law enforcement, some get intimidated because they're like, well, I'm a female, like I'm not as strong as a man. But I would say, like, remember, like, a lot of being an officer and a good officer is the gift of gab.
Yeah.
Yep.
Being able to, I, as a female, have been able to talk down a 6'5", 300-pound muscle-bound guy when my partner's like, nip, nip, nip. Because it's the root,
A lot of
testosterone.
testosterone flow.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I would say, like, remember that, like, we are capable, to do that and do this job well.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's an excellent point. Years ago it was you would try to hire guys and big guys and all that, but it's not about that anymore.
Yeah,
It's
no.
about who can talk your way out of a situation.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a group of folks here that go out and deal with the mental health, but you're right, and a lot of times the women are better at that than the guys.
Yeah.
For so many reasons. I mean, they just have a way of calming people down, and it's not about who's the biggest anymore. It's who could articulate, who could talk, who could write. Report writing is so such an integral part of this job now. Documenting incidences and things like that. So that's an excellent point. We're always looking for new recruits, new people. And I can remember, you say, you were the only female in Morrisville. And I could remember years ago when we would have a female prisoner on the radio, like, is there any female officer working in the county right now?
Yeah.
Just so they could search the female, because otherwise you couldn't search a female, and they got contraband, weapons, whatever. And it was hard. I mean, it was just hard to find somebody. You don't hear that anymore. There's a lot of women all over the county in a lot of different departments. I don't know what the breakdown is, but it's a lot higher now than it was 30, 40 years ago. I know Ben Salem has a decent amount of women. I know Bristol Township does. Falls, I think Middletown does. I mean, a lot of the towns, probably the smaller ones, not as much. I think Bristol Borough, I've seen some female officers on the street. So I've seen Bristol Borough has. Does Morrisville have any females now that you know of?
They have 2 females
Oh, there
now.
you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Out of how many officers? Like,
I believe, I want to say they probably have like 8 full-time officers.
so that's pretty good.
So yeah.
That's a high percentage.
It is, yeah, absolutely.
That's a really high percentage. So, as we wind down, we try to keep these to a half hour to 40 minutes or so, and we're getting to that point. And at first I wasn't sure. I wanted to do this. A couple of weeks ago I thought about doing this, and I'm like, well, I hope it's not going to be perceived wrongly. Bringing what's he doing, bringing women on to do this? But I think it's an important message. because I wanted the public to know that, there is a career in law enforcement here in the Bucks County Sheriff's Office specifically
Mhm.
for ladies and women that want to get involved in law enforcement. And could certainly come up here and find, a woman working anytime and just ask and talk to somebody.
Mhm.
Or I don't think anybody would be opposed if someone sent an email in or,
Mm-mm.
reached out and said, can a female deputy call me back? I'm interested in a career in law enforcement. I know one of you is, and the other folks that aren't here, we couldn't get everybody in. We have somebody detailed out to a federal agency right now, doing stuff. And I don't know where everybody else is today, but I'm sure they're here out and about. But I really appreciate you guys, and I do that general term, guys. You ladies.
Sorry, we're not offended.
Yeah,
Not offended.
I know. Some people. I try to correct myself when I say that, and some people, you just generally say the word guys, not meaning males, but just say people, peeps, peeps. That anybody can reach out to you, peeps, and you would be more than happy to get back in touch. But I'm so glad that you're all here. Again, I can only take credit. Oh, I can take credit for all four to some degree.
Yeah.
Promoted
Mhm.
Yeah.
to Sergeant Parker, and then I hired you guys and some of the other ladies. I don't know who else was here. Gina was here before I got here.
Yes.
Who else?
Christina.
And Christina.
Yeah.
Christina, our K9 officer. So Christina was. I forgot. Christina's on a flight trip today, I think.
No, she's training.
Oh, training. She just was on a flight trip.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yesterday I was in a mall. She told me a story. She had to give up her personal pants to the prisoner. Did you hear that? The
Yes.
prisoner?
Oh, gosh.
A female
She
prisoner.
peed
Yeah.
on the
She. Yeah. So Christina, I guess the night
things we
before, flew out in, what do you call those? I call them spandex. They're not called
Yoga
spandex.
pants.
Yoga
Leggings.
pants, leggings, whatever they were. So I was like, we were in a mall last night. I like shoes. Don't make fun of me.
Why do you look at me?
Okay. Because you're the one that makes fun of me all the time. So I like shoes, and there was this pair of shoes I wanted, so we ran out to the mall to get these pair of shoes, and it was right across from Lululemon, and I'm like,
She got Lululemon.
she did, and I didn't buy it because I'm like,
I really
can't-
thought he was going to say he bought.
I should have. First of all, I didn't want to call her and say what size you. I guess I could have guessed, but that would have been a little weird. My wife knows her, so my wife could have probably just guessed. But then I'm thinking, if I buy Lululemon on a county credit card, somebody's going to flag that. Like,
Jenny
Yeah.
wouldn't like that.
yeah,
Jenny
Jenny
would not
would
like
go
that.
nuts. I'm like, I cannot purchase. And then I'm like, after I left, because I was like, I could have just bought it out of pocket myself, and I wasn't even thinking. But I didn't think the whole thing through because I'm like, I can't call her and ask her size. That's kind of goofy and weird. But my wife could have probably guessed. I didn't even think about that, but she knows Christina, and she's got to be small in her outfit.
Oh, it's
So-
happened before. It'll happen.
And I'm assuming she's not washing it and reusing
It was actually Jim's truck. Oh, you mean the outfit?
the outfit.
No,
she
that's
gave her on
gone.
the plane.
That's gone.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
threw it out.
Sure.
The prisoner, she gave her the clothes from the night before when they flew out without the prisoner. So she peed herself on the plane, the prisoner, and Christina gave her pants, I guess, that were in her
Yeah.
carry-on bag. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is way too much information. Our viewers
It
probably
really
aren't
is. We got
interested.
sidetracked.
Yeah,
a
we
lot.
did get sidetracked. But
Yeah.
I don't know, Aaron. We might want to leave this in. I think it's kind of cool.
Leave it all in.
We'll leave it in. It's just
This
casual
is the
talk.
web- This is what we talk about.
Yeah.
The women in
Yoga
law enforcement in
pants,
Bucks County. For the
Being a
record,
children.
yeah, I'm not with them when they have these conversations.
Yes.
I'm in my office hiding
Yes.
normally. I don't want to hear some of the stuff they talk about.
Yeah.
But ladies, I'll throw it out to you. Any closing comments from any of you?
I would just like to say, I know sometimes females think in law enforcement, we come in and we automatically don't like each other. I can genuinely say we are all friends. We all get along. We all have hung out outside of work.
Mhm.
Like, I trust these group of girls. I love all of them, and they're all my friends. So it's not the stereotypical,
No.
Yeah.
oh, here comes another
Yeah.
girl. We genuinely all like each other and get
Yeah.
I did that on
Sure.
purpose. I made
Yeah.
sure.
along. You did? Yes.
I was able to sense hiring each of you.
Well, that's why we need to do the rest of the female hiring so
Exactly.
we can make sure.
Yeah.
All right, I promise you guys I will do that.
All right.
It's really been great for me though, because like I said, I was the only girl.
Yeah.
So it's so neat to have all these wonderful
Mhm.
women that we have here and be able to forge like friendships and
Yep.
and work together. It's been
Mhm.
great.
Yep.
The best
I'm
year.
gonna keep it that way.
I'm the best.
You're the best.
Yeah, go on. All right, go on. I mean, really, go on.
This is going to be a longer episode.
This was a little slower. And I was like, all right, what are we going to do here? Because I got to be careful not to get myself into trouble.
Well,
but
we got 4 women here. We'll
Yeah.
talk.
yeah, well, no doubt about that. What a great episode 10. It gets better and better. Thank you, ladies, for being here. They did a phenomenal job, and it started off a little bit more formal, but then it just became a chat, which is really what I liked. We're going to maybe change the format now after how it went today. I really like just a casual conversation. I'd like to do this more often, but they did a phenomenal job. And please, I know they meant it when they said, please reach out. If anybody, especially women, if there's any women out there that want a career in law enforcement or to work here in the Bucks County Sheriff's Office, please reach out to any of them or reach out to us here. I'd be more than happy to help you and give you some information. But, that winds down officially episode 10. And now we're going to kind of take off right to the end here, try to finish this out where I left off with my adoption story and what happened next. So we're in my mom's house, talking with her, my sister, my niece, and my nephew. And I'm just trying to figure out now what's the connection here. How did this woman or whoever meet my parents? How did this get hooked up? Because I was born in the Glens Falls Hospital, which was right outside New York City. My mom is from Brooklyn, or from the Bronx, I think. But no, from Brooklyn. She was living in Brooklyn at the time, 2 neighborhoods over from my adoptive parents I knew my whole life. But she didn't know them. So we started talking about how this connection was made, and she was saying, well, her father arranged all this. And he has since obviously passed. But her father did not know my parents. After just talking for a while, we realized there was no relationship between the two groups. But then she mentioned a good friend of her father's, a guy by the name of Abe Feldman. And that was the aha moment. Abe Feldman was a very good friend of my parents. I remember his name growing up. He was always at the house. My parents went out to dinner with him all the time. So that was the connection. Abe Feldman knew my mom's, Roberta, knew her dad. They were good friends, and he knew my parents. He was very good friends. So what transpired, we don't know, because all these folks have since passed. But I could surmise that my parents had let it be known to Abe that they wanted to adopt. They already had my sister at this time, who was adopted 9 years before me, and I guess they were looking to adopt maybe a boy. And Abe has said that he knows a family or a woman that has a boy that is pregnant. I guess they didn't know it was a boy that was pregnant, and she can't keep the baby. And the deal was made, and my parents put my mom up at a hotel for 6 months. I guess back then, if a 18, 19-year-old girl got pregnant out of wedlock, I guess their parents didn't want that child or that person, or everybody to see. I'm just surmising. I don't know. And they put her up at a hotel for 6 months. I guess that would have been, month 3, month 4 of the pregnancy when she's showing, and she stayed there till she gave birth at Glens Falls, in Glens Falls, New York, at the local hospital. And that was the connection, and that was the moment that I guess I was searching for since I knew I was adopted some 15, 16 years ago when I found this out in my 40s, mid-40s. And that was the moment that it all got put together, that the missing pieces were now connected. The dots were now connected. The questions that we'll never know is why my parents didn't tell me. I guess I'll never know that, but I guess I really don't have to know. But what's kind of cool is my mother calls me now every day, pretty much. My daughter talks to her cousin that we just met in Las Vegas. They talk pretty frequently. And my niece and my nephew are interested in becoming firefighters and paramedics in Las Vegas and in Nevada, and that's what they're working towards. My sister was just up visiting this weekend, so I'm getting to know these folks after 61 years. You know, you have a family dropped into your life, not necessarily a bad thing. They're very nice people. My mother is a character and a half. She's got a lot of personality. My wife laughs because it seems like my mother just speaks before she thinks about what she's saying, which I don't know, you know, if I may have been accused of that once or twice. All right, maybe 6, 7, 8, 28, 113 times. I've been accused of that a few times. She just says what's on her mind, and she doesn't seem like she has much of a filter. So again, I always thought these things were learned behaviors, but we don't need some scientific experiments. I can tell you folks, this is now genetic. So we've conducted a test and the results are in. A lot of your behaviors evidently are genetic. Either that, it's just one heck of a fluke, but I don't think so. We kind of all look alike. We have a lot of resemblance. And it was a very interesting journey the last 16 years. Once I found out I was adopted, it was quite an experience. It's hard to really put it all into words. I think I did the best I could explain this journey that I've only ever seen on television and things like that. But to go through all this and find missing relatives, so to speak, is quite interesting. Thank you for joining us as we explore another aspect of law enforcement in Bucks County. To stay up to date on future episodes and gain further insight into the work we do, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about the Bucks County Sheriff's Office and the services we provide, please visit our website and be sure to download the official Bucks County Sheriff's Office app, available on Google Play and in the App Store. Join us next time for another in-depth look at law and order right here in Bucks County.